Well, I'm recording a game that was epic in its scope. Hopefully this doesn't glitch. I get one try at the end. If you want to see what the deck list is that I'm using, stick around and I'll show you that after the game. Anyway, so I'm playing against CsodaVsTheDeck. He's running Rico of 2 Reflections. I'm running Sliver Queen. He got the roll. And I decided to keep a somewhat sketchy hand, but Quiet Spec could draw me deep analysis, so and ice is a way to draw cards, so I'm thinking I'll be okay. Alright, no luck off the top. He's opening with Greaves. Still nothing going, so I need to set up, I go ahead and select Grudge, Deep, and Ray. Grudge has a target. Deep, hopefully it'll dig me out of this hole I'm in. Oh, and look at that. Just need another land. So I think about it and decide not to tap out, draw deep, play deep on myself, because if I don't find a land I'll just discard 2. Otherwise I'll discard 1. I was thinking I'd ice here, but for some reason I don't do it. Mental error. And my opponent's able to play a Thran Dynamo, so this is not looking good at all. And I draw a remand, still no land. So I discard Stroke. That's not looking too good on 2 lands. So I mean, look at this board state. How can I possibly even compete at this point? But for whatever reason, he doesn't make a play, so I just desperation ice his blue. His 5-color land there, and he factor fictions in response. So he's got this gigantic advantage, and in mana and now cards as well. So the pile I make is Sylvan Primordial and Tectonic Edge. Edge won't be good for a little while, and with Crucible hopefully it'll never be good. Primordial is a problem, but I can remand it, and at least he'll be playing into my remand. Hopefully I can find an answer. Because if I can get enough mana, I let him Primordial land and then Crucible and myself back into the game and just plow his guy. I really don't want him taking this pile, because that's another factor fiction, and that's another factor fiction. I'm definitely going to win if he draws 15 cards. But I have to make it look like the 2 pile's the better pile. And of course, with me being mana screwed, he feels that it is, and he selects the 2 pile. Now, the other thing is Primordial is very expensive. And the reason he's able to play it right now is because he has that Dynamo. So look what I top deck here. Boom. And that buys me some time. So thinking that I'm not going to have anything to remand, I go ahead and get a Chalice down. So the perfect scenario here is next turn I strip, cast Crucible, and strip again, and move into the winning driver's seat. But he ramps again and unramps me and gets some free damage in too. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Primordial 7. Problem solved, eh? How horrible this is. I can't even afford to play the Crucible here just to get the Marsh Flats, because it's just going to die to the Primordial. So I try to slow him down. Hopefully he misses a land drop. If he misses the land drop, then I can vault, and I can vault into some mana, like a Mana Crypt, for example, or a Soul Ring, and I should be set. But unfortunately, he has the land. So I go for the stall. Really want to just rip a Winter Orb, or I don't know, land. Land would be good. But nope, Isochron, usually a good friend when I'm having low mana in instance, but not this time. So I flashback deep. I'm just desperate now. I'm willing to take the discard. I can't afford to miss a land drop knowing he's going to kill a land. And fortunately I find 2 of them. So the nice thing here is, although I end up having to pitch situationally good cards, situational in that situations that I am not currently experiencing, I've got mana, and I've got a long-term plan, and I even have an answer to a gigantic Primordial. So he gets to ramp some more. Good on him. Here I'm able to take that Primordial out, though, before it smashes face. 8 damage per turn. It's just a little too fast of a clock. And he gets a clamp, so if he gets a way to, you know, like one toughness producer, or he starts going through mana dorks or something, I'm in so much trouble. But because I have the Crucible and I've played a land this turn, I decide I'm going to try to shut down his blue in order to keep him off his Riku and hopefully whatever else he might draw, like, you know, Fact or Fiction. Well, you can't draw that, but look what happens. And this guy is just amazing. Relic of Progenitus. My whole game plan, this entire game plan of being screwed, undone by Relic. And it finds him a blue. Sometimes you just gotta hate what happens. Now on the good side, he's got 3 cards left in his hand and I've got 5, and I actually have enough mana to counter right now. So what I do is I go set myself up for a couple of turns worth of countering, and again, if he doesn't do anything, I'll vault. If he does do something, I'll vault during my upkeep, depending on what he does. So I let him have his Riku. I can't afford to get in a counter war with his commander. When I can't kill his mana, he's just going to replay it again, so there's just no point. At this point, all I can do is play the vault and cross my fingers that I don't die before I find something excellent. So here we go. I mean, as low as my life feels like it is, in a normal game, I would have taken 1 point of damage, that's it. And I would play vault in a deck. So basically, this is a vault from fresh. Can't complain about that. But then again, my deck wouldn't be 100 cards deep either. So hopefully you figured out by now what I'm looking for, and we're just skipping through some of this junk. Too bad the Abyss sucks when they have a Skull Clamp out. Skipping, skipping, skipping. There it is. Terminus with some land, Shackles, and a Force. That seems pretty good. So, I don't need that land for a while. I really just need the sack land, and then I can start the Crucible plan. So, I dropped the Shackles, I put the land down, I put the Shackles on top, I put the Force on top, I put the Mesa and the Terminus. Basically the idea is I really need to hit a land drop next turn, so that and say go, and I won't shuffle away the Force of Will, but on the other hand, if that doesn't work out for me, then I will. It's kind of how it goes. Of course, I forgot that I'd given him the Tech Edge. Fortunately, he's not able to do anything about it, so there's my land. So feeling alright again. And he looks like he's out of gas, right? I'll take a Force of Will. And in fact, since I have a Force of Will, how about we go for Crucible? Unfortunately, everything I try to do this game is interfered with, so tough call here, but if I don't start developing mana, I'm dead. So I blow the Cryptic. Again, I could have popped the Wargate there, and it's really highly debatable if I should have, but I'm thinking, hey, mana drain into a Wargate might just be a win. So I go this route. And boom, give me my land right now, before he draws like Stifle. So he's got nothing, and I'm doing okay. The problem is, of course, that I've done so much damage to myself, taken so much damage and everything else. I can only do the sackland trick for so long, and that City of Brass definitely isn't all that good. Unfortunately, I really feel Oracle's a bit of a threat, so I take it out. It's quite possible that was an error. Maybe I should have Wargated into something, but with Lightning Greaves over there, and Oracle, the power of Oracle to get him through the junk into the good stuff, I wasn't willing to risk it. Besides, 4 mana, and here comes Wargate. Seemed like it was time. So what are you Wargate for? I mean, what can possibly win the game here, right? Well, there's only one thing I could think of. It's the sort of instant... It's the non-instant win button. And here it is. And I'm like, oh my god, does he have another counterspell? But it looks like he doesn't. So I go get, boom, Future Sight. Future Sight. An infinite font of cards. The only problem is I'm stuck with a really bad situation here. My plan was to get Future Sight and then Imperial Seal for a counterspell, and then sort of protect my position from there. But I mean, look at that Brainstorm. It's so tempting. So I decided to get greedy. And just take down his Greaves right now. Because basically, I'm thinking Future Sight's going to win the game for me, especially with what I've got. But not if he's playing hasty creatures and smashing me at 4 life. I'd be dead with just about anything, right? Of course, if you're this guy, it doesn't matter what your opponent does. You just draw the answer every time, right? Do I sound bitter? I'm actually not. This was just his ability to top deck the answers made the game long, but his inability to top deck the finishing blow prevented him from just killing me. So it was kind of probably a frustrating situation for both of us. So I go get the combo, top sight, draw. But the problem is I'm really scared. I'm at 4. So I just pass. I can teachings in response to something and counterspell, so... And again, now I'm at 3. I'm really thinking here because I could, in theory, I could vamp. I figure if he has a bolt, I'm dead, but if he has a shock, I really want to stay away from that 2 and below. There are a lot more shocks in this game than there are bolts. So I go ahead and counter it and cross my fingers. Being as how this is an what is it? Hit me for 2, draw 2 lands and 2 cards off a clamp. Seems bad news for me. Oh, right. For some reason he doesn't hinder mystical teachings. I cannot fathom why he would do that. But at any rate, he also misses the attack. I guess his thought is if he draws anything with 3 power, I'm dead. So at this point I realize, okay, I'm not going to struggle with counters. I'm just going to try to start building my hand. But because he didn't hit me for 2, I can actually use this City of Brass and not be dead. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana, right? I'm out of 2 casting cost counters, but there's a counterspell I want more than anything right now, and that counterspell's Forbid. Because once I Forbid lock him, he's down to his draw phase. He's obviously in top decking mode. Oh, he drew a Carkeep. Oh, he has a Skull Clamp. Oh, never mind. So, Signal the Clans, search for 3 cards at random, and I really was torn. Like, do I forbid this with buyback? Because, you know, if it was me, I'd go get, like, Squee, Genesis, Vengevine, something like that. But I couldn't afford to risk he's already drawn extra cards, I just couldn't risk him having a creature here. Besides, as soon as I saw him get Terrastodon, I was relieved because it turned out he was getting greedy. So you got to keep the Luvian Primordial, which... any of those creatures win the game, so it doesn't matter. Instead of playing it, he plays Spelltwine. Would have been really cool if he would have played it. I really wanted him to tap out. This is close, though. So he's targeting my Demonic Tutor and his Signal the Clans again. I don't care about this, and I'm not sure that I care about the DT. I could just let him tutor and then try to cast something and counter it. But after thinking about it, I realized if he Demonic Tutors for a Lightning Bolt, it's going to be really hard to win this game. So I just counter it. and I use a regular counterspell. I still want... The forbid plan is still on my mind, but staying out of shock range also is on my mind, so... Look at that lovely top card there. So even though I've had my graveyard removed, there's still a pile of goodness in there. Not all of it usable. So first things first, let's get some Lotus action going. Time to will. DT for the saver, and this is exactly what I needed to have happen. I needed that land. I needed the land so that I could play Winter Orb and still have Mana Drain up or a Counterspell up. But most importantly, so I could do this. Go away, hasty creatures. Just the difference between haste and not haste at 3 life is huge. I can't afford to have him just come down and hit me. Of course, I play a Winter Orb, so he draws Temple of the False God. I'm not surprised anymore. I just wish I could do that myself every time. So I could throw down a Shackles, but now that the creatures don't have haste, there's a lot less pressure to do it. So instead, I make myself another Gilded Lotus. And then finally, what the heck. Might as well play the Shackles, right? What else am I doing? Might as well play the Arid Mesa, too. I don't know, maybe I should have played Chromatic Lantern. But as it turns out, it doesn't matter. It's turn 19, he's got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana, 6 cards in hand. I know that a couple of them will land, but I guess he just had enough. So, interesting finish to a horrible slog. I would have liked to have seen the whole thing. And as promised, here is the deck list. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.